Hi everyone, my name is Mohammed Soliman from MOD Games, and today I want to teach you how to play the board game Selsia. Selsia is a 1 to 4 players game where you are a spaceship captain, cruising from one planet to the next, trying to fulfill jobs, upgrade your spaceship, fight other players and pirates, and fulfill your personal quests. And optimally, by the end of the game, you will become the most glorious spaceship captain in the whole Selsian star system. Just keep in mind that the copy we have here is a prototype copy where some of the components might change in the final production. Also, there might be some minor changes to the rules. Let's start this video by showing you how to set up the game. Start setting up the game by placing the main board in the middle of the table and place the market board next to it. Then place the crew member meeples near the main board. These come in 3 colors, red, blue and black. Shuffle the personal quest tokens. Place 2 face up on the dedicated spaces on the planet Vex, and then keep the rest nearby face down. Add the 2 pirate hex tiles on the corresponding spaces on Tortuga, with the red arrow pointing towards the 2+ side. There are 4 Selsian defense system tiles. Stack a number of tokens equal to the number of players at the Selsian defense system. At this example, we are setting up the game for 3 players. That's why we are only using 3 tiles. Return the unused tiles back to the box. There are 6 boost cards that come with the game. These have the letter B written on the back. Shuffle these cards and take a number of them equal to the number of players plus 2. In our case, again, because we are setting up the game for 3 players, we will take 5 cards. Place these cards on the dedicated space at the planet Acom. Return the unused cards to the box. The game comes with a lot of upgrade tokens. 4 of these tokens have the number 4 written on them. These are only used in a 4 players game. As we are setting up the game for 3 players, we will return these tokens back to the box. Shuffle the rest of the upgrade tiles. Place 1 face up at each of the 8 spaces on the market board. Then stack the rest of the upgrade tiles face down on the leftmost space to create a supply. The game Selsia comes with a deck of job cards. Divide them into 6 separate decks based on the planet drawn in their backs. Each of these decks represents a different job type: Bounty, Common Cargo, Civic Act, Guard, Valuable Cargo, and Sabotage. Then for each of these job types, separate the cards based on their tiers, Tier 1, 2, and 3. In the end, you will have 18 separate decks. Shuffle each of these decks separately. Then add all Tier 3 cards on the dedicated spaces at the outer rim planets. The card back and the planet drawing should match. For the Tier 2 cards, add cards equal to the number of players minus 1. Because we are setting up the game for 3 players, we will only add 2 of these cards and we will return the other 2 back to the box. Finally, add 1 Tier 1 card face up on top of the previously placed stacks. It should look like this once they are all placed. Of course, return all the unused cards back to the box. They will not be needed in this game. Shuffle the combat deck, and this has a letter C in the back, and place it somewhere near the main board. There are 4 spaceships that come with the game. Each has its own special ability. For your first game, choose 1 randomly and take a matching miniature. This miniature should have a spaceship that matches the drawing in your player board. Take 4 cubes and all the discs that match your player color. Also, take 3 black cubes, 1 speed gauge, and 1 small action tracking token. First, place 3 of the 4 cubes of your color in the dedicated spaces of the influence tracker. Place the last cube of your color on the orange spot of the AI power tracker. This AI power tracker has a processor or a chip sign in the right hand side here. Then place the 3 black cubes to the right of the previously placed white cube. This is just to remind you that your maximum AI power is 1 right now. Place one disk on each of the empty upgrade areas on your player board. Place the speed gauge in the space number 1 in the speedometer, and place the small disk on the rightmost space in the action tracker. This is the space number 8. If you follow the instructions correctly until now, you should have one disk of your color remaining. Place this disk in the space number 0 on the frame tracker at the main board. Now each player should collect one red and one blue 6-sided dice. The red dice is for attack rolls and the blue dice is for defense. There are 3 main resources in the game: credits, scrap, and food. These are tracked in the bottom of your player board in this resource tracker using these tokens. Place the food and scrap tokens in the space number 2. This means that you start the game with 2 food and 2 scrap. As you can see, this tracker goes from 0 to 15. This means that you can never have less than 0 or more than 15 at any of these resources. Now is the time to decide the first player. In this game, the first player is the one who most recently ate pizza. The first player takes the first player token and also starts with 2 credits. The second player starts with 3 credits, and the third player starts with 4 credits, and so on. Now each player should check their spaceship's special ability, and based on that they might need to modify their dice or resources. For example, this spaceship starts with a 10-sided blue dice instead of a 6-sided die. Now it's time to shuffle the trade deck that has a T letter in the back, and deal 2 to each player. Each player should check his trade card secretly, keep one and discard the other one. Once all players decide which card to keep, they must simultaneously reveal the chosen card and place it in one of the 3 dedicated spaces on the top of their player board. Shuffle the discarded cards with the rest of the trade deck and place them face down near the main board. Trade cards are explained in the rulebook, but to give you a general idea of what they do, they first decide in which planet you start the game, and they give you extra benefits whenever you fulfill a specific type of jobs or whenever you perform a specific action. For example, this transporter guard gives you 1 extra fame whenever you fulfill a common cargo or a valuable cargo job. You would also gain 1 extra fame whenever you perform an upgrade to your spaceship. Now all players should place their spaceship miniatures on the planet space indicated in the top right corner of their trade card. Finally, the game comes with summary cards, which remind players with the actions they can do during their turn, and also has a summary of all the iconography. Deal 1 to each player. During a game of Selsia, you will be flying your spaceship around the Selsian star system. You will be doing actions based on the planet you land on. You will also be trying to fulfill jobs. You will be trying to fulfill personal quests. You will be fighting pirates or fighting other players. And you will be upgrading your spaceship. And hopefully by the end of the game you will win by collecting fame. Fame is tracked in the bottom of the board, and the first player to reach 30 fame or more becomes the winner of the game instantly. You collect fame by successfully fulfilling jobs, by fighting other players and pirates, by upgrading your spaceship, and by spreading your influence. A game of Selsia consists of an indefinite amount of rounds. Each round consists of 3 phases: actions phase, action point refill phase, and market refill phase. Actions phase is where most of the game takes place, while the other 2 phases are considered cleanup phases. During the action phase, players will take turns in clockwise order, where each player will be spending action points in their turn to perform actions. The first player to pass will take the first player token. Once all players pass or run out of action points, the round ends and the next phase starts. The action points refill phase. In this phase, all players will simply fill their action points back to the maximum. Then, at the market refill phase, players will remove any upgrade tiles at the fourth column. Then, slide all upgrade tiles to the rightmost empty slot. And finally, fill all the empty slots from the supply. During their turn, each player will perform the following in order. First, they might spend action points to change their current speed, 1 action point per level. Second, they must move their spaceship as many spaces as indicated by their speedometer. They must also follow the arrows. Third, if they end up in the same space as another player, they might optionally attack that player. I will explain the combat action later on in this video. And finally, they may perform one or both of the following actions: a planet action or fulfilling a job. I will explain both of these actions soon. Alternatively, they might pass. This might happen because they don't have any more action points to spend, or simply because they find it beneficial to start the next round in the current space and maybe become the first player. To explain the planet actions, let's first divide the map into 3 main regions: Inner Rim, Outer Rim, and Uncharted Planets. Each of the 6 Inner Rim planets provides 2 actions. The first action requires 1 action point, and the second action requires 2 action points. For example, in Scrooge Dive, a player might spend 1 action point to gain 2 credits, or they may spend 2 action points to gain 4 credits. All the different actions from the Inner Rim planets are explained in the rulebook. I will leave it to you to discover them on your own, except for Madura and Pepperit. At Madura, players have a chance to buy 1 upgrade for their spaceship or 2 upgrades. First, they must pay the upgrade price written in the top left corner of the upgrade. For example, this upgrade requires the player to pay 3 credits, 2 scrap, and 1 food. Keep in mind that upgrades from this fourth column have a 1 scrap discount. This means that in our case we'll pay 3 credits, 1 scrap, and 1 food. Second step is to place the upgrade in a slot that matches the type and border color of that upgrade. For example, this attack upgrade can be placed either here or there. The third step is to take the upgrade disc from that slot and place it in one of the Uncharted planets of your choice. This unlocks access to the planet for that player. Also, if this is the first player to place their disc in that planet, they gain 1 fame. Finally, players collect any rewards from this upgrade piece they just added, if any. For example, this attack upgrade provides the player with a 10-sided red die instead of the 6-sided die they started with. At Pepperit, you can hire crew members. To do so, choose one of the available crew members and place them in one of the free spaces in your cockpit. If all spaces are taken, you can replace one crew member with another one with this action. You can even replace an exhausted crew member with another crew member. New crew members always join standing in the cockpit. You can use red and blue crew members to reroll red and blue dice respectively. Once you use the crew member, they are exhausted. You can spend 2 food at any time as a free action to stand them up and get them ready to use again in the future. Outer Rim planets all provide the same exact action. Either spend 1 action point to take the top job card from the corresponding deck, or spend 2 action points to draw the top 2 cards, keep one, and return the other one back to the top of the deck. As I mentioned briefly earlier, uncharted planets are locked at the beginning of the game. This means players cannot access them or even pass through them unless they are unlocked by the player. Uncharted planets are unlocked by upgrading your spaceship and placing your upgrade disc there. All the different actions from the uncharted planets are explained in the rulebook. I will leave it to you to discover them on your own. The second type of main actions is to fulfill a job. Each of the outer rim planets provide a different type of job, as I explained earlier. But, as a general rule, you must reach the destination planet printed in the top right corner of the card. Once you reach the destination planet, you have to spend a certain amount of action points and then try to fulfill the job. Some job types require players to roll their red dice, blue dice, or both. In this case, roll your dice. Of course, you may use the benefits of your upgrades or use your crew members to increase your chances of success. Afterwards, collect the rewards written in the bottom of the card. This includes resources and fame points. Whenever you end your movement at a space where there is an opponent, you have the option to attack them. To do so, you roll your red dice and the opponent rolls their blue dice. Compare the results and the higher value wins. Attackers win in ties. The winner draws 2 combat cards, keeps one, and returns the other one back to the bottom of the deck. Then they immediately gain the rewards. Some combat cards offer the choice of multiple rewards. In this case, the player may choose one of these 2 rewards and gain it immediately. Then remove this card from the game. And that's everything you need to know about the board game Selsia. I skipped some rules here and there, but you will find all the rules in the rulebook. And if you have any questions, you can post them either in the comments below or you can put them in BoardGameGeek, and I will be happy to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time.